Alright, today we're learning how to solve equations using multiplication and division. The good news is it's very similar to solving equations using addition and subtraction. We're doing opposite operation to get the variable by itself. Alright, so let's look at example 1. In example 1 we have multiplication problems. We're on page 97. Page 97. In example 1, I have the equation negative 6x equals 48. Well, the first question I always ask myself is, what operation is connected to my variable? What is it? It's multiplication. So what's the opposite of multiplication? Division. And I want you to always show division with the fraction bar. Don't do the division symbol, okay? So I divide by whatever number is connected to my variable, including the sign. So divide both sides by negative 6. Make sure you take that negative. And x equals, what's 48 divided by negative 6? Negative 8. So make sure, guys, you show this step on your homework and on your quiz tomorrow. You've got to show what you're dividing both sides by. If you don't, you're going to miss half the points on your homework and your quiz tomorrow. All right, now how can you know for sure that you got the answer correctly? How can you know?
You multiply.
Yep, you plug it back in. Negative 6 times negative 8 equals 48. And then, yeah, that's true. 48 equals 48. Checks out. So we check it the exact same way that we checked them on addition and subtraction. Okay? Number 1, we have 2x equals 18. Divide both sides by 2. X equals 9. Very good. Number 2, we've got negative 60 equals negative 5a. Divide both sides by negative 5. A equals positive 12. Very good. 2 negatives. Who got them both right? All right. Good job, guys. Good job. All right. Now in example 2, we're just dividing. Okay. So in example 2, I have 9 equals w over 7. Well, before we can solve this, I need to teach you what a reciprocal is. A reciprocal is when I take a fraction like 1/5 and I multiply it by its opposite. I flip the fraction. Well, if I flip this fraction, it becomes 5 over 1. And the whole goal here is that everything cancels down to 1. Well, that's what I'm trying to do here when I'm solving a division equation. I'm trying to get everything to cancel down to just 1, so it leaves my variable by itself. So whatever number is in my denominator, that's what I'm multiplying both sides by. W over 7 times 7 over 1 will cancel the 7's and leave w by itself on this side of the equation, which is what I want. But whatever I do to one side, I must do the exact same thing to the other side. Did everybody agree 7 over 1 is the same thing as 7? Yeah, that's the same thing. So my answer would be 63 equals w, or w equals 63. All right, so again, I'm going to explain it again, and then we're going to do a couple practice ones. Whatever number is in my denominator, so if this is a 12, I multiply both sides by 12 over 1. If that number is a 5, I multiply by 5 over 1, both sides. Whatever number is in my denominator. Okay? So now I want you to just try numbers 3 and 4. Checkpoint numbers 3 and 4, and then we'll work them together. All right? So on number 3, on our checkpoint, I have y over 2 equals 13. Well, again, the first thing I'm going to do is, what operation is connected to my variable? So what operation is connected to my division? What's the opposite of division? Multiplication. But how do I know what to multiply by? What number is in my denominator? So multiply both sides by 2 over 1. Whatever you do to one side, do the same thing to the other. Y equals 26. Okay? Now let's look at number 4. On number 4, I have negative 8 equals b over 8. All right? So again, what operation is connected to my variable? Division. So what do I need to do?
Multiply.
Multiply by what? Just make up the number?
No, it's the denominator.
Whatever number is in your denominator. So multiply both sides by 8 over 1. Multiply this by 8. What's 8 times negative 8?
64.
B equals negative 64. Okay? And remember, on these, you can also check, and you'll be asked to check on your homework. So you just plug it back into the original, just like we've been doing, and you check them. All right? Any questions on dividing? All right, now in example 3, I'm not going to do the one that's in the book. I actually prefer number 25 on page 100. So go ahead and turn to page 25, number 25 on page 100. Okay, number 25 on page 100. All right, now we're going to read it together. All right, number 25, it says one type of thermal ice drill can drill through the ice at a rate of 15 feet a minute by using heat. Find the time it takes the drill to melt through a sheet of ice 75 feet thick. So the first question I ask myself is, okay, am I adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing? What do you think? You think you need to divide, okay? All right, so if you're going to divide, if that's the operation you need to use, then your equation has to involve the opposite of division. Because if you have to divide to solve, your equation, whatever's attached to the variable, has to be multiplication, right? So you can divide. So you know your total, or the total feet, is 75 feet. You also know that you go 15 feet per minute, but you don't know how many minutes you're going to go. You just told me you need to divide to solve. But your equation, when you set it up, it needs to be the opposite of whatever operation you need to use. So, what can you do to solve for m? You divide by 15, both sides. If you know your operation is division to solve, your original equation must be the opposite of that, so that you can end up dividing to solve. You might want to listen to that a couple times in the recording. M equals 5 minutes. All right, you have a couple of those on your homework tonight. Okay, and then last but not least, we have decimals. With decimals, I solve them the exact same way that I solve with whole numbers. All right, so if I had 0.6m equals negative 5.1. How would I solve for m? So that's the first one. All right, and then what if I had n over negative 8 equals 1.75? All right, I want you to solve for both of these. Okay, so we're solving it literally the exact same way, except now it's just a decimal. So what do I divide by on number 1? What do I need to divide by? 0.6. Whatever's attached to my decimal or to my variable, 0.6. And m equals what? Negative 8.5, because there's only one negative. All right, on number 2, what do I need to multiply both sides by? Negative 8 over 1. Very good. Negative 8. And then n equals what? Negative 14. All right, who got them both? Did you get them both?
No.
All right, well, about half of you did, okay? And so that's it for decimals, guys. You solve decimals the exact same way you solve with whole numbers. Do you get that?
Yep.
Okay, so you might need to go home and watch this video tonight if you need to see anything reworked. Your quiz tomorrow is over adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing decimals. We're solving equations involving all 4 of those operations. If you understand that, it's everything you need to know for 2.6.